la la, yeah, boy. La la la, yeah, boy. Zone beats, boy.
What up, team? I'm Jono, your host, and you're watching Big Boys Boxing. So we've got a little bit to talk about today. I'm waiting for some news, in fact. Today is the last day that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder can make a deal to get their rematch on. If terms aren't reached, it's going to purse, but unless the WBC grant a second extension for some reason, I can't see any logic behind a second extension being granted. The teams have known the date that they've had to make the deal by. They've had an extra 7 days. So we'll just see what happens. But in other news, Dillian Whyte and Dominic Breazeale has been ordered by the WBC for the WBC heavyweight interim title. Now this was something myself and many others had predicted was going to happen to resolve the pressing mandatory situation for the WBC and to possibly legitimize the WBC mandatory, because as it stands, Dominic Breazeale gaining the mandatory position fighting Eric Molina is not legitimate. But anyways, as usual, I'll get a few things sorted here, send some invites out, see if we can get some people in for a chat. First things first, sounds on. Let me check my audio. Give me a sec here. First things first. Yep, that's all good. Alright. I will get a hangout up and running. I'm just going to open the regulars hangout today, so if you're on the list, your phone's going to ring. You can answer it if you want to join, or don't if you don't want to join. We got AA Boxing and Blunts answered his phone. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How's it going?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all. I'll just get a couple of other things sorted here. But to get us started, would you like to give us your take on Dominic Breazeale versus Dillian Whyte being ordered by the WBC?
That's great. That's brilliant. I've got to admit, you've heard me. I was never a fan of Dillian Whyte, but honestly, I think he deserves that now. When you think about last year, he literally fought Chisora, Parker, and Brown, which is it's as good as anybody can fight, apart from fighting a champion. So, but what's the split? Does anybody know the split?
I haven't seen any information on a split yet, but it'll
only see if you read the press release. What they released, they just said a fight. They ordered a fight between. Listen to this. They just said Dominic Breazeale and the WBC silver champion for the interim belt. I think there's a chance that Dillian Whyte could actually be awarded like a 60-40 split if that goes to purse.
It's interesting. I haven't looked at the WBC website yet. All I've seen is the article on Boxing Scene so far. I see Boxing Squared did a video on it. I hadn't actually seen it yet, so he may have a bit more information in there.
Nah, nobody's mentioned anything about a split. They've spoke about but it's brilliant for Dillian Whyte. You think about it, and he's going to be called the WBO Mando as well. So he's got himself in position to be Mando for AJ and
Wilder or Fury.
Yep. But can you say Andy's coming off back-to-back pay-per-views, so he's sitting nice, really nice.
interesting situation for sure, because Dominic Brazil had expressed some interest in the fight, but it seems like he was only interested if the fight was going to be in the US. But with this new order coming up, I don't see Al Heyman coming up with a decent amount of money to try and get the fight in the US.
Let's be honest. See, after I think Eddie Hearn coming out and revealing, and Dillian White as well, the first offer AJ made Dillian White said, I made that against Chisora, and then they doubled it, and then added a bit more. So it was 2 million, 4 million, then 5 million, because Eddie and Dillian said it. So if he made 2 million versus Chisora on a pay-per-view, and that was the biggest, like if he'd fought Brazil instead, it only him versus Brazil's not as big as him versus. So he's looking at making 2 million out of that, and that was paying Chisora less. So he would have had to pay Brazil a lot more money. But now he's got to, Brazil's no choice, he's going to have to take that money.
That's right, he's going to have to take what he's given, or he's going to have to convince someone to back him in a purse, but if it gets that far. Because I'm pretty damn sure Dillian White's going to want the fight in the UK. I don't know, maybe Eddie Hearn would think about possibly putting it on DAZN in the US, but it seems they've got that April 20th date sorted at the O2. So maybe we are going to get to see, that card that with Lucas Brown and Dillian White and Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora, possibly even Michael Hunter and Carlos Takam on that card. So if it does,
I doubt it. See, you think about money wise. I know people laugh, but see, I've put it this way: Dillian White's one of the biggest pay-per-view people we've got in Britain, and if you can only make £2 million as an A-side in a pay-per-view, then nobody's making that kind of money non-pay-per-view. So if he's making 2 million pay-per-view as the A-side, he's no way there's enough money to go down to pay the likes of Chisora, Povetkin, Takam. Like they will only want A-side money, but they'll all want a good amount.
Of course they will. Yeah.
I don't think there's enough money there. It's easy to say, but you imagine trying to pay Povetkin, Parker, Takam, Lucas Brown. Like, you have to pay all them good money. That's the biggest fight of the year for them, probably. So you need to pay them that money, and then you have to pay Dillian White in Brazil. I can't see it. When you see some of the purse bids, like when Povetkin, Pulev and White went to purse bid, it only went for like 1 point something million, didn't it? That was dollars. Like, I think, but do you think you win that purse bid with $2 million probably? Realistically, White versus Brazil, you probably win that for just all 2 million.
Yeah, I guess, because you don't get to see everyone else's bid, so I don't know how much Hearn's willing to sacrifice. I'm pretty sure Al Heyman won't put more than any more than $2 million in.
Because they bid $1 million on Kid Galahad versus Josh Warrington. Eddie Hearn bid $1 million and Frank Warren bid like 1.1.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's brilliant. At least it's been ordered now, and Dillian White's guaranteed. He needs to beat Brazil, I suppose. But even if Brazil beats him, he'll probably still keep his ranking with the WBO. So he'll probably still get a Mando shot at AJ.
That's the point I was going to get to. If he gets into this fight for the interim title with the WBC, he could possibly lose his mandatory spot with the WBO. Maybe, I don't know. But you can be dual mandatory. We saw it with Alexander Povetkin, although the WBO, I think it was, pulled that decision before he fought Anthony Joshua, or once he signed to fight Anthony Joshua. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, I guess. But like you say, I think it's brilliant. Finally, the WBC have made a legitimate decision to try and legitimize that mandatory spot. Whoever wins is going to be a legitimate mandatory, in my opinion, anyway. So.
But see this as well with Dillian White. I know a lot, right? You obviously, but see if I turned into the average person and says, how long has Dillian White held the silver belt? Or people will say, years. He's only held it for 18 months.
Yeah.
He's only had it for 18 months, and he's been shouting that he should be getting a title shot for the last 18 months. Like, when he fought for that, the same month he fought for that, Brazil fought against Molina in a final eliminator. And, like, Wilder was meant to fight against Ortiz, and Ortiz got popped, and Stavern ended up stepping in.
Yep.
So that was mandatory. So the next time it came round, it should have been the winner of Molina versus. You've got to remember, Dillian White did fight against somebody who he fought against Helenius at the time, who wasn't even ranked in the top 15 for that silver belt. And when Molina fought against Brazil, both of them were top 15 ranked. So that was more a mandatory fight than what they thought Dillian White was, and that's why Dillian White actually got the silver belt fight. There was an interview out there with the WBC talk about it, and that's why they said, we told Dillian White that he can't be mandatory, so he'll fight for the silver belt because he was fighting Helenius, and we believed that Molina versus Brazil was a mandatory fight, and unfortunately Ortiz got pulled out and Stavern stepped in, so that's why it went back. But it's still only 18 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's no dragged on for years, but it's good that they've eventually done it.
Yeah. Whereabouts did you hear that Dillian was going to be made the WBO mandatory? I haven't heard that news yet.
Eddie Hearn says that Eddie Hearn was missing for a press conference in the UK, and they asked him where he was, and he was away to somewhere. I think it was in the Bahamas or something for a night with a guy for the WBO.
Okay.
And he said that the WBO will be calling it up at the end of this month, which is February. The WBO will call it up. Usyk will have the option, obviously, if he steps up, but Dillian White's going to be called up as a mandatory.
Without having to fight a final eliminator?
No final eliminator, he'll be called up as a mandatory. That's what Eddie Hearn said.
Yeah,
so obviously Dillian.
That'll be 2 times in a row that the WBO have given the mandatory position to somebody without them having to fight for it. So, I don't like that, but you can't tell the governing bodies. They should be setting final eliminators to make legitimate mandatories, in my opinion. But it is what it is, I guess.
It's crazy, because, just now, see, you've obviously got 60 boxers who can be ranked, because you've got 15 in each body. So, there literally is 60 fighters who can all be ranked, and then sometimes you look at the rankings and you think, how the fuck can he even be ranked?
Yeah, so Adam Fahey's just said in the chat that Usyk will have the option, but if he doesn't take it, a final eliminator will be called. So that's interesting, conflicting. I know Eddie Hearn's going to say what he's going to say to try and back his fighter to a degree.
That's the only thing I've seen. It's only as Eddie Hearn said that he'd spent a night all with the guy for the WBO. And that's what, obviously, they'd spoke about it. Okay. And that's what he was saying.
Interesting. I guess that's another wait and see situation, but I can understand if they do order a final eliminator. If they don't, it's not that bad considering the opposition Dillian White's faced recently. So a bit different to David Haye getting offered the position and he turned it down, and the same with Hughie Fury just being gifted the position without fighting a final eliminator. A tad different since Dillian's fought Joseph Parker and who did he fight?
That's the other thing.
Lucas Brown. And...
belts, Jono. See that belt he's won? He fought Parker for the WBO. Is it the international?
Yeah.
Or the intercontinental? Is the international in it?
Yeah, I think so. International.
See if you look back on that belt holds clout with the WBO. So see if you look back on that, everybody who's held that's the guy who gets called. See if you look back on it, you'll see Fury. I'm sure that will be the one Fury held before he fought Klitschko. It's the one you get the international, intercontinental. That's what they had, and that's the one that gets you up there. But so, if you look before that, did Povetkin had that? Povetkin
yes.
Might actually have fought Price for that, or he fought Price for the WBA version of it.
He fought, I think it was Christian Hammer. Oh no, he had it before that fight, didn't he? He did. So
that's the one that they used. That's the belt they used, the WBO.
Yeah. Interesting. Alright, for anybody else who might like to join, there's a email in the description. If you drop me a message on Hangouts, I can add you to the conversation and you'll be in. Regulars, you just got to go into the Hangout that I usually contact you on. It's called Triple B Stream Crew, and you'll see at the top there's a green bit click on that and you're in. I can't drop a link in the chat in this format as it won't work for you, so if you do want to join, be sure to drop me a message and we'll get you in. Now, today is the day that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have to make a deal to get that fight made before it goes to purse bid. It's getting late in the US. Oh, it's probably prime time about now in the US, so I don't know, man. Do you think the WBC will grant another extension if they don't get a deal made today, or do you think it's going to go to purse bid, Double A?
That fight looks like it's falling apart, honestly. There's something holding it up. Well, the only thing I seen was Ben Davison, and Tyson Fury did mention it once, and Frank Warren had mentioned it, is about the judges. They want to try and get judges that aren't from America to Britain or from somewhere else. And there's only certain states who even be allowed to be considered to do that. So my reckoning is Tyson Fury's asking for the fight to be held somewhere stupid like in Boston. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. It could be as crazy as that now. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm also thinking that Tyson Fury is going, no rematch clause, thank you.
Right, well, that's another thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to put a rematch clause in there. He doesn't need to. And he knows that Wilder needs to make the fight now. The pressure's on Wilder now to make the fight. Before it was about him stealing the fight off of Joshua. He was overweight and it was a chance to fight Wilder. As close to a 50-50 as you're going to get. He signed the deal straight away. Like, now it's with Wilder. He's giving Wilder terms, isn't he? And saying to Wilder, you need to sign him. I don't think it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, Adam Fahey says in the chat it's likely there'll be an extension again from the WBC. If that does happen, I don't condone that whatsoever. If it was put off because there's a possibility of an undisputed fight or a unification fight being made besides this fight, then sure. But just giving these guys extra time for the hell of it, even though they knew what the final date was where they had to make a deal, they've been given an extension. If the WBC give an extension, I'm not into that. So interesting. If Wilder wants the rematch clause and is pushing for that, and that's what's holding it up, well, tough titty. He's been ordered. He can't make those demands anymore. So the WBC may have made a bit of a mistake by ordering it, but at the same time, we need to see this rematch get it done and clear up this controversy about who's better. So I want to see it go to purse bid and see the fighters potentially make more money than what they would have made it in the current situation. But,
that's what I mean. But can they really? I honestly don't know if like DAZN will have to cover. They'll have to cover Showtime pay-per-view money, which I don't think they'll. It's alright if it's a fighter who you've got, but to cover that for two fighters that you don't have on your, like you're not promoting them. It's a hard one. It's hard to. It's alright saying DAZN could just throw 40 million at it, but put it this way, it's the same with Anthony Joshua and Muller. Like people are forgetting this. AJ already fought against Povetkin. It was the first fight, so they've got that, and they've already seen Muller fight loads of times on DAZN. So DAZN pumping in £40 million into that fight. It's good, but it's still stupid. It's 40 million. It's no like all that's happening is two of the fighters are fighting against each other now.
yeah,
But I suppose it's like, can they really afford to? Have they done that? Can you imagine that? That's 35 million for that, 50 million for the Canelo fight. If they managed to throw $30 million at Wilder, and that's like they're doing $120 million in a month on boxing. If they do that, Hon's after them, man. But it's 100 million subscribers you need.
Yeah, exactly. Shitload of money. And you know, DAZN does have a lot of money, but if they keep throwing it around where they're not making their money back, the money's going to run out to a degree. So they've got to be, you know, a rich man doesn't stay rich by giving the shit away. Simple as that. Yeah. In some other news, just to quickly cover a few other things.
Oh, Lucas Brown, his opponent's been announced for Scotland. Just throw that in. He's fighting Kamil
Sokolovsky.
He's fighting against him, so that's going to be good. That'll be a good night.
You gonna go to that?
I'm going to be at that, aye.
Awesome.
I looked as well. You need to look at this guy. Richard Story, he's called. Go look at this guy. I don't know, Formula One, they unveiled the Formula One car the other day, and he's the main sponsor of the Formula One team, Haas. It's an energy drink company. He owns an energy drink company, and he says he wants to be bigger than Red Bull. He's in Formula One. He wants to be above them in the grid and stuff. The guy's got a beard, Jono. He's got a beard like a bikie, and like he looks like a bikie, and he wears a suit. And that he's the personal manager of Lucas Brown. That's the guy. Remember, I was saying to you, a guy gave Lucas Brown loads of money, gave him a decent gym, and said to him, like, go full time. It's him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm backing Lucas Brown this year. 3 victories.
Yeah, well, if he takes out Kamil Sokolovsky, which he should, I mean, he's pretty durable, but Lucas Brown can bang. What was that, sorry?
His record lately, he's only been stopped twice, ever, and that was Dillian White and Gorman. Then he fought Gorman again, and Gorman beat him on points. And he just beat Nick Webb, and then he beat Naylor Ball.
Okay, so that gives you an idea. He's not just a punch bag. He can actually box a bit, can't he?
That was just in the last 5 months. That's who he fought. He fought Gorman, got beat on points. Fought Nick Webb, beat Webb, and fought Naylor Ball, beat Naylor Ball. So, like, he's coming in with some form. It's a decent opponent for Lucas Brown, and that's a warm-up for Lucas Brown for the Allen fight. Yeah,
I didn't hear about him beating Nick Webb. That's pretty decent too. Mind you, to a degree, it's kind of shown the quality of Nick Webb, really, isn't it? He's not as good as many thought he was. So, interesting.
His sparring partners are, like, I follow Nick Webb, and Nick Webb put up a picture, and he was training with there was a bare knuckle fight on. It was on a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys who was fighting for London, that's who Nick Webb's been sparring in fights in the last, like, 18 months. Like, bare knuckle boxers. Why he's sparring bare knuckle boxers?
Yeah. Interesting.
Boxing technique. He's fighting against brawlers. He's sparring brawlers in the gym.
Any idea where that fight or that card may be televised?
That one will be. It'll be on. You got Instagram.
Oh, okay.
It'll probably be on Instagram. They're called Kynoch, Kynoch Boxing. It's a guy in Scotland who. It's his own boxing promotion. He's got like 7 or 8 boxers as well who he does full time in the odds events.
Awesome.
And he's hooked up with Rick's Energy, so that's why Brown's fighting there.
Okay, cool as. So I'll get hold of that link to the Instagram page after the stream and post it in the comments, so you can possibly track that down when the fight rolls around. There's this other fight here coming up that I'd like to have a quick chat about, which could be interesting. David Price versus Cash Ali. Cash Ali's 14-0 prospect. He hasn't really fought any decent level opposition yet. But we all know what David Price is like. If he can get to his chin, he could be in trouble. How much do you know about Cash Ali there, Double A?
Quite a lot. I've seen him a few times as well.
Oh, you want to fill us in, mate? Because I don't know too much about him, to be honest.
He's been about for a long time, like sparring back with like Tyson Fury before he fought Klitschko, like Dave Allen before Dave Allen was on the scene. He's been kicking about. He's managed by MTK as well. He fights on their cards. But then, like, see when you watch him, he's basic got the 1-2. He's not really got anything else. He's not going to bring anything to David Price apart from try to punch David. I think as soon as David Price unloads 2 punches, he'll probably cover up. He looks good, but he's made to look good. He's got a 14-0 record, but if you look, the fights have been spread out over a long time. I seen him fight about 4 years ago, I think 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, his debut was in 2011, so he's been a pro for 7 years. He's only got 14 fights, so he's averaging 2 fights a year. Pretty lackluster. He's 27 years old at this stage. We don't have any stats on BoxRec for his height and reach. but I'm guessing he's
big.
about 6'3".
He has a big lump.
Okay.
But I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if he knocks David Price out either, because David Price is vulnerable. Like, he's not going to be scared. He's not going to be Tom Little. Like, he's got a bit more balls than Tom Little.
Okay, has Cash Ali got any kind of speed? Is his hand speed okay? Like you say, he's got a pretty low selection of punch variety, but I think speed is a key to getting to Price's chin.
Nah, he's nothing that's... He's not going to be exceptional in speed, put it that way. He looks basic. Like, he does look basic. And he looks like he does weight. He looks like he does the weights more than he actually does any kind of training. He looks like he's on the weights a lot.
Okay. Well,
so I'm going to guess that he works as a doorman. That kind of...
Yeah.
But he's alright. That'll be a good fight. But so there is a really good fight on... There's a good fight on that card as well. There's a... Is it Tommy McCarthy? Have you ever heard of him? It's no heavyweight fight either, but
no,
he's coming back. He's fighting against a British cruiserweight as well, which will be a good fight on that card.
Bring up the card and we'll have a look here. I'll get the card up on screen so everyone can see. Just give me a sec here.
David Price is going to be fighting Lucas Brown. See if Lucas Brown beats Dave Allen. Pretty much. Whoever wins out of Allen and Lucas Brown's going to be fighting Price next.
Yep.
That's what Lucas Brown said.
Okay, so Price versus Ali isn't even the lead event.
No.
Joe Hughes and Robbie Davis Jr. or Davies Jr.
Aye, that would know. I don't. It does a. What other fights are on that card? Fowler's on that against Fitzgerald. That will be on before the main event.
Sam Eggington and Liam Smith.
That's the main event there.
Okay. They've got the list all stuffed up on BoxRec.
And then it'll probably be Robbie Davis, and then it'll be Fitzgerald fight against Fowler, and then it'll probably be Price and...
Okay.
That'll probably be first on TV.
Yep. Anthony Fowler's fighting on there as well.
That'll be a good fight.
Yeah. Scott Fitzgerald. Interesting. Cool as. Alright, so a little bit of other news. The Robert Helenius versus Kirat Pulev fight fell through. I did notice a few days ago that it had fallen through, and I think it was on Twitter. Pulev's promoter jumped on and said that Robert Helenius doesn't want the fight, he's pulled out. But from what I've read, it's just terms haven't been able to be reached. So yeah, it's a pretty common theme with Kirat Pulev. To get a deal made seems quite difficult unless you're an opponent that's expected to lose. Then the fight gets made easily, but if it's competitive, it seems really hard to get a fight made with Kirat Pulev. I'm kind of wondering whether he's asking ridiculous terms or what. But
always go to Anthony, especially he's going to have to protect that to be able to get that IBF mandatory shot off of him. You're going to have to pretty much come to the table and take his terms, isn't he?
Yeah, get on your knees and take what you're given.
He is right. Like, at the end of the day, they're pretty much the same. He's looking at that like he's no got money in the bank, but he's got a field full of corn.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Rain outside, he's looking in the future, and he's not got nothing left. At the end of the day, the next time he loses, he's done. He can't rebuild. Yeah. He can't go back. He can go back to Bulgaria maybe and fight maybe 2 fights on TV for free, like on free TV, and get back to the Bulgarians. But as soon as he loses against AJ or loses at Mando, he's pretty much done. So you can't blame him, especially see when you see the money being offered. unless you're fighting AJ, you're not making more than $2 million in a fight. Like, people need to realise that it's no out there.
Yeah. I wonder if Pulev's got any kids. He certainly seems good at pulling out, so who knows. Alright, so what else is there? We've got at least one confirmed fight for our Kiwi boy, Junior Far. Let me see here, I'll get it up. It was somebody that I don't know, so just a sec. We may have a confirmed opponent for Hemi Ahio, who's also on that card. But just a sec. Bring it up here. What do we got?
I seen that. The Boxing Square did a video on that.
He did.
I think I might have seen that.
It's not a big opponent, but Junior Far is actually headlining the card this time. Newfall Otar, or I don't know how you pronounce that. Ouathah. Otar.
A big French guy. A big French lump.
Yeah, big French guy. He's 16-2. Let's have a look at his profile.
He looks alright. He's been beat off Erkin Tepper, and Duapa's beat him. And he's beat nothing. Like, he's not beat anything.
Yeah, the only names that I'm recognising on there are Duapa and Tepper. Oh,
Okay.
Jakov Gospik. I know that name. He's a journeyman though, 17-7.
That's actually a decent fight though. Let's be honest, when you look at Junior Far's record,
he hasn't faced anybody decent yet, has he? I'd like to see.
He needs to step up as well. He really needs to get on it. He really needs to get on it as well, because like, before you know it, time really skips by you.
Oh, that Frenchman beat Gregory Tony, but Gregory Tony's well past his best. I saw him last fight Izu Yugino, and he got blasted out in 2 rounds, I think. So that's not really a legit win. It was a KO win too, so interesting. But the other one I was really looking forward to finding out whether he's going to step up was Hemi Ahio. Where is he? Oh, what? He's not on the card anymore. Surely not. Was he way down the bottom? Oh, here he is. Hemi Ahio. He's still TBA, so we haven't got an opponent for him yet, unfortunately. But yeah, I was thinking about it this morning, because we really want to see Junior Far step up, but he's under Lou DiBella Entertainment, and I'm wondering whether they're going to, get him up to 30 fights before he really steps up. But I was thinking, a fight for Junior Far that I'd really like to see would be him fighting Izu Yugino. That would be a great fight. I couldn't pick a winner for that one. But what kind of opponent do you think you'd like to see Junior Far facing?
Next, who's in the WBO rankings? See, he couldn't go in against somebody like Oscar Riveza, do you know what I mean? A name like that, but he's ranked. He is a top 50 fighter, really. But when you look round about there, like you say, who does he fight? I don't know. He's not going to go in there against even Spilker.
Spilker would be a step up at least, wouldn't it?
But that's a hard fight.
Well, there's the guy number 14 in the WBO, Richard Larty. He's pulled out against a few guys. I think he was actually...
The Ghanaian? Is he a Ghanaian?
Yes.
He's another one.
Who else is?
You've got to get up the rankings. You've really got to get in the rankings. So you need to start getting ranked across the board as well.
Who's this? Ali Aaron Demirazin. Never heard of that dude. He's number 13 in the WBO. Christian Hammer's busy at 12. Otto Wallen, he's tending to his trainer who got beaten up in New York.
That fight, he's not going to fight for a while.
Bryant Jennings is still at number 10. So maybe that's a fight Junior Farr could try and target.
That's a hard fight though, isn't it?
It is. I think it's a less dangerous fight in respect of getting knocked out or anything, but it'd be a good boxing match, that's for sure.
Yeah, he may end up right, like, and it's like you say, especially the Oceanic titles mean stuff to the WBO, so like they respect their titles, but there comes a point, he's been right with the WBO, you have to start chasing people above you, and when you look above you, sometimes the look above you is a big step up though. Like,
one above him is Kitaro Fujimoto, and he's starting to make noise that he wants some big fights. He was talking about Anthony Joshua, which is a bit ridiculous, I thought. But,
yeah, that's no far-fetched. Put it this way, see, I think Anthony Joshua, once he goes to America, let's be honest, you can put on a phone. I don't know if you know what a phone voice is. It's when you can answer the phone in a posh voice.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Joshua's got that about him. Behind closed doors, Anthony Joshua's still that boy who was brought up in Watford.
I can imagine, yeah.
Once he gets to America and he makes that and he sees a wee bit of that, can you imagine a fight in Japan or a fight in China? Can you imagine what that would do for Anthony Joshua? Like, that's something like I see could possibly happen. I can see him taking a voluntary and saying, I'm going to go to Japan and I'm going to break Asia. Like, he could do it. For him, that's well possible.
I guess so. And, well, if he hasn't got piled up mandatories, but we'll see what happens there. Interesting. What else? What fights have we got coming up this weekend? You got any that you're particularly looking at this weekend, mate?
I don't even know who's fighting this weekend. I couldn't even tell you the cards. Let me have a look.
Can't be anything.
Oh, what is on this weekend? Is there any? There's a fights in Britain.
Is Daniel Dubois and Kajanu fighting this weekend, or is it the following weekend? It's one of them coming up, isn't it?
There's Chris, Lennox Lewis has got a nephew who's American who's coming to Britain to fight as well on a local card near me soon.
Okay.
I think that might be what's on the fights we've got this weekend. There's a couple on your call. Oh, nah, that's it. We haven't got any.
Another quiet weekend.
Let me check. No, we've not got nothing happening this weekend. York call card. Got a card in Aberdeen. There are small cards. Don't think we've got anything now. We've got nothing on TV at all.
Yeah, looking pretty quiet. Bummer.
Cash Ali's fighting this week. He's on a small card as well in Sheffield.
Oh, it's not the David Price fight.
No, he's got a fight coming up. Oh, Atif Shafiq's fighting on that card as well. You might know who he is. He used to train with Dominic Ingalls and fought on all the Kelbrook undercards, but he's switched trainer as well. He's and a new promoter as well.
Okay, I've heard the name before. I can't say I know much about the dude, but it is relevant, obviously. Just looking through.
He's on that card. Nah, we've not really got any. We've not got the next card we've really got is we've got that Leicester card coming up. And the James DeGale Eubank as well.
Oh, yep.
That's next.
There was someone else on that card that was of interest as well. Or there was a couple of
Gorman.
fights. That's right.
Nathan Gorman's going to be on that card. He's fighting on that card. Tommy Fury.
Oh, Tommy Fury too. I haven't seen him fight yet. Apparently he hits pretty hard.
Nah, he's... Right, here's another guy. Is that a 4-rounder? Right, Tommy Fury's going to beat this guy at 1 point though. Like, he'll beat this guy at 1 point. This guy's got a 3-12 record, but he's only been knocked out 4 times, which tells you he's tough. And if you're going 4 rounds, that guy will survive for 4 rounds.
Okay.
So, I'll have a bet on that.
Just looking up this Gale card. Make sure we haven't missed anyone.
I'm on that as well. Lee Selby as well. He's on there.
Joe Joyce is on that card. He's fighting Bermain Stavern on that card. That was the one I was thinking of. So that's a decent fight. Well, maybe. Depending on what Stavern comes to the ring. Hopefully it's not the punch bag and we might get to see some action. But yeah, I think Joe Joyce is going to break him down and stop him in the second half of the fight, to be honest. But there's a lot of people think he's going to blow him out in the first couple of rounds. It's possible if this imposter that Stavern talks about turns up. But yeah, be interesting. Lee Selby fighting Omar Douglas. Who's Omar Douglas? 19-2.
Nah, he's just an American they brought in for Lee Selby's moved up in weight, so I think he's having a fight or two.
Like an intro to his new weight. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think he's already had one. Has he not already had a fight? He might already had the fight.
Okay. And I can't say there's any other names on there that I recognise. I don't know who Chris Congo is.
Chris Congo, he's quite good. He's alright. Chris, too slick.
He's 10-0, so he can't be too bad. He's still fighting TBA at this stage, so not likely to be a very hard opponent, leaving it that late.
Nah, that card. I don't know how much better that card's going to really get.
Yeah. Cesare Neville. Don't know who that is either. He's on debut, that's why. And he's fighting TBA, so that won't be anything interesting. Ricky Summers has got a fight against Andre Sterling. That could be interesting. Andre Sterling's 9-0. Ricky Summers 15-1. You know those guys, Double A?
I know who Summers is. I've heard of them, but I'm not too familiar with them.
Yeah,
I know who.
I've never heard of Andre Sterling myself, but he's up and coming.
I think he just floats about as well. Like you say, he has 2 fights ago. He fought somebody who was fighting on their debut, so
okay,
he's still pretty much untested.
All right, so for the heavyweights at least, the big fight this weekend will be Joe Joyce versus Bermain Stavern. So, yay!
Well, that's not even this weekend. That's 2 weekends away.
Oh, it is. It is. Sorry, yeah. It's on the 23rd of February. So
that's what I mean. All these boxing promoters, all these talking about how much they've got and how many cars they're putting on. We should never have a week where we don't have boxing ever.
Well, that would be nice. I mean, there is boxing on, but a lot of it's not televised, so we don't get to see it unless you go to the event. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully next weekend. What's the date today? It's the 13th here, but 12th in most other places around the world. So another 12 days until we get a half decent fight to watch for the heavyweights anyway. And Chris Eubank Jr. and James DeGale. Better get your quick opinion on how you think that one's going to go, Double A.
I'm scared. I hate to say it, but I think Chris Eubank Jr.'s actually got a chance. And it's terrible. Like Chris Eubank, Chris Eubank Jr.'s fought 2 people who are decent, and he's been beaten both of their fights, pretty much outboxed. But he's actually got a chance of beating. DeGale's good at going against the ropes, but Chris Eubank Jr. brilliant when you go against the ropes and you just punch you like you're a punch bag. Yeah. Like, I'm actually worried. I'm worried for James DeGale that James DeGale might try that in the first round and actually get knocked out.
It's possible.
That would make Chris Eubank Jr. actually think he was good.
Yeah. James DeGale runs hot and cold too, so depending on what James DeGale comes to the ring, if the same dude who fought what was his name, who he lost his title to, then he got it back in the rematch,
Truex.
That's it. Caleb Truex. If the DeGale comes to the ring that fought him the first time around, he's definitely going to get beaten by by Eubank Jr. But yeah, I think if he keeps him on the move and stays off the ropes, DeGale will be able to make Eubank Jr. look a bit silly, as he sometimes does look when he gets a bit wild and shows his lack of technique. But yeah, if he's up against the ropes and he's there to be hit, he could be in real trouble. So we'll see. I don't think it's worth a bet, that fight, to be honest. I haven't looked at the odds, but it should be pretty even, I imagine.
That is pretty much even.
Yeah. So
but the good thing is that pretty much between the 20th of April and the 1st of June, we'll hopefully see Dillian Whyte Brazil, Fury Wilder, and AJ Miller. So it settles a lot, doesn't it?
It does. We'll have a much clearer picture of where the heavyweights should be after these fights happen. And then we can moan and bitch about what fights we still need to see, but you know, they'd be fights that everybody really wants to see or needs to see. I was actually listening to a stream yesterday, and I thought Adam Kalnacki versus Luis Ortiz should be a fight that should be made this year, considering they're both PBC fighters. Adam Kalnacki's definitely earned a shot to get close to a final eliminator, I think, at this stage. Possibly.
As a promoter, though, you're going to try and position them for two different belts if you possibly can, aren't you? You're not going to try and position the two of them for the same belt that Brazil's fighting in. Like, they're going to have to. Luis Ortiz has got a good ranking now with the IBF, is it? Somebody's just ranked him again. I think the IBF's gave him a ranking, so like they'll be looking at Kalnacki as well as ranked. They'll be looking at trying to push them in fights. Like the next, if Dillian Whyte loses, they'll be trying to get that WBO Intercontinental or whatever's floating about. They'll try to position themselves for these kind of fights. The last thing you want is all your fighters fighting, trying to chase Wilder. Every fighter can't chase Wilder.
Well,
one belt.
If they wanted to keep it in-house, which they like to do, it's a possibility they might try and keep it all in-house and chase Wilder, but for me, there's no guarantee Wilder's going to have a belt after his next fight. I just looked at the rankings. Adam Kalnacki is 5th with the IBF, and Luis Ortiz is 7th. So you're right there.
I think that's clever. I think that's what they might. I think it's what they might try do.
Yeah. Or do you think he might even send both of them after one of Joshua's belts, going through the IBF? Mind you, I guess. Shit, the IBF is going to be the next mandatory for Joshua. Oh no, the WBE, because the IBF will be after the WBO belt for Joshua, won't it? So the WBO mandatory first, then the IBF, and then the WBA will come around in 12 months after the Povetkin fight. So,
which doesn't it? This is the thing as well. He won the IBF, then he defended the IBF, then he won the WBO, then he
WBA.
No, he won the WBA, then he defended again. Did he defend again? Then he fought against Parker. So it depends on who calls it first. He's already defended IBF and he's defended the WBA. The WBO is due, aye.
Yeah.
So Dillian Whyte will be next, won't he?
Well, if he gets that Mando, depending on what Usyk does.
Yeah, Usyk could go for that because Usyk said he's going to. Could Usyk possibly turn up? He said he's going to fight in May in America. Could Usyk possibly turn up on an undercard in June? Anthony Joshua, and then him and Joshua be announced. That's another possibility.
It's possible, but I think Usyk's going to have to let the WBO know whether he wants that mandatory position or not. Crook smart, otherwise they're going to have to give it to someone else. Considering that it's due in September, I think they were saying, so it has to be fought by September, not ordered in September. So the WBO need to know what they're going to order.
Holy shit, if they ordered Dillian White, then Dillian White could possibly beat Brazil, then go, if he goes and fights Joshua on the WBO mandatory, he loses the WBC. He could, well, Joshua's the better fight, that's what I don't get, like, for Dillian White, if you get a 60-40 against AJ or a 60-40 against Wilder, the AJ fight's worth more money to you.
You'd think so.
Like,
Dillian White.
He's kidding on, he's chasing the WBC, isn't he?
To a degree, I think it might depend a little bit on what Dillian's long-term plan is. As we know, he's not contracted to Matchroom, it's a fight-by-fight basis. He's not contracted to the zone, so maybe he wants to go and make a name for himself in America if he can get a Deontay Wilder fight. And, you know, I'm sure he thinks he'll win and go on from there. And, you know, if you get a really good profile in America, you can make more money there than anywhere on the planet in boxing. But it's still a very long-term plan to go that far. So I don't know.
At the same time, Dillian White's got to think that Tyson Fury's going to get beat off the Wilder.
I guess so.
So
yeah, well, would he want to fight Fury if Fury beats Wilder and White gets the WBC Mando? I don't know if he'd want that fight or not. He'd possibly think that AJ's an easier fight. I don't know. What do you reckon?
He beat Fury up in sparring, didn't he? He said he beat Tyson Fury in sparring and knocked him out and all that. So
he said he did, yeah. But you know, sparring stories. Who knows? He could be lying. He might not be. You know, it's been said in the past that the Furies, not just Tyson, are friends. That's why Huey wouldn't fight Dillian a couple of years ago. We don't fight friends was the excuse. So he's been sparring with the Furies for quite some time. He definitely knows what he'd be in for. I mean, he's only been in the ring with AJ like twice, hasn't he? Once in the amateurs and once in the pros. So interesting.
He's definitely landed on his feet. Put it this way, 18 months ago Dillian White was fighting Helenius for that silver belt, and now he's fought back-to-back pay-per-views. He's got the silver belt, defended it 3 times. He's had 2 pay-per-views. Now he's Mando. He's fighting in a Mando fight for the WBC, and he's possibly going to be Mando for the WBO. And in between then, he refused to fight an IBF eliminator for a belt, to get a shot at the belt, and he refused a fight against Ortiz when it was ordered. So he's done well, considering he's rejected 2 fights, refused them. He's fought against good competition and made good money. So you can't. He's probably boxer of the year, just for what he done financially.
Yeah, I can't argue with that too much. Pretty legitimate, really. I have noticed in the last sort of 3, maybe 4 months, Dillian White has become one of the people that the LDBC is all of a sudden backing, which is quite humorous considering, you know, they follow everything Deontay Wilder says, and Deontay Wilder said that Dillian White's a little black spare tyre. So, you know,
I think as soon as they see a chance of him signing for the PBC in it, I think that's more one of them. But he's proved that, put it this way, Joseph Parker's he's not the biggest scalper in boxing. Like, see if he beat Joseph Parker and got the belt, then you, like, that's awesome. But he beat Joseph Parker after AJ had already beat him. So, like, his biggest scalp is only Joseph Parker. So it's no amazing, but at the end of the day, man, he done that on pay-per-view. So it doesn't matter. He made, even if Joseph Parker had that belt, Dillian White wouldn't have done any more pay-per-views. Like, that would have probably done 500,000 pay-per-views.
Yeah, I did see some numbers on the pay-per-views. They're only estimates, of course, but I can't remember what it was. I thought it was like 800,000 or something like that.
Oh no, in Britain it done 454,000, something like that.
Yeah.
His fight against Chisora, they're done with 430,000 or something.
Okay.
It's good, so still good.
Yeah. There was pay-per-view down here as well, but that's New Zealand and Australia, but I don't imagine it would have done more than a couple of 100,000 down here, full stop, if that. So yeah, overall I don't know what it would have done, but it's pay-per-view nonetheless, and that counts for something. So right, have we got anything else we'd like to bring up before we think about shutting it down? I haven't come across too much new news at the moment.
There's nothing really happened, is there? We're just waiting for all these fights to be announced now. Just waiting for the card. I bet you as soon as Dillian White will need to get a move on now, because April the 20th is fast approaching, and see if that goes to post bid. That means the post bid will be won in March the 18th, and they're hoping on making a pay-per-view on April the 20th. That leaves 4 weeks between winning the post bid and having the fight. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I dropped a video the other day. It actually rubbed a few people the wrong way. I was kind of going into bat for Dillian White about the negotiations with Eddie Hearn and whatnot. It wasn't, intended to make Eddie Hearn out as some kind of evil bullshitter. But I did mention that it's a possibility. Maybe White versus Brazil could end up on the June 1st undercard of AJ versus Miller. Do you think that's a possibility at all?
It could, but it depends how much Sky are willing to bid on that. Like, see if Sky turn around and say, look, we want that fight, then they don't really go into negotiations. They'll let that go to purse. If they really want that fight, they think they can outbid them and get it. They want that. It depends on the split. Put it this way: see if it goes 75 to 25 to Brazil's favour, then Eddie Hearn's no go. Like Eddie Hearn says, he's not going to give his fighter 25% of the pot for his own pay-per-view.
Good point.
There's something amiss as well, John. Will definitely, like, that last fight was worth over 10 million British pounds. That fight had done £8.5 million just on pay-per-view, plus a full arena and whatever showtime bid. Now, and Chisora probably made £1 million and a half. Say, like, that's only 35% of that purse, which means Sky and Eddie Hearn kept a lot of money. So Dillian White's making name rich. He fought twice on pay-per-view last year, and if they kept their 50%, then they made 10 million off of Dillian White, and Dillian White only made 4 or 5 million. So they're making more off of Dillian White than he's making off of them still.
It was a half decent undercard though. How much do you think the purses for the undercard would have cost?
Well, when the only thing you can go off is when a fighter's fighting on pay-per-view and making £2 million as the A side, and then the B side's making £1 million. The fighters on the undercard are only, even the undercard, like the co-main event, they're on 100 grand at most. You've got to. Joe Joyce offered Derek Chisora 60 grand to fight him for the Commonwealth belt on a pay-per-view. That was on the Hay versus Bellew undercard. He offered him 60 grand. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, so that just shows you. Like, there's no money in it. If people think that people are getting $500,000 to be on the undercard of a pay-per-view in Britain, then there's no chance. No, when a fighter's only getting $2 million for headlining it, they're not going to give somebody 25% of what they're getting headlining that. No way.
Yeah, good points. Alright, so yeah, I've been flicking onto boxing scene, trying to see if any news is going to come out about this Wilder Fury situation before we cut the stream off, but nothing's come up yet, so really hoping we're going to get some news about that today. The top story at the moment is Amir Khan says, if I beat Crawford, I'll be remembered as a great champion. I don't know about that. I know most people can respect what skill Amir Khan does have, but I don't think he's ever going to live it down that Amir Khan's got one of the shittiest chins in boxing. That's what he's going to be remembered for.
Always,
yeah. I guess it's a toss-up between Amir Khan and David Price at the moment. Who's got the worst chin?
That would be some fight. That would honestly, like the two of them fighting each other. Amir Khan's got the speed and stuff, and like I would pay for that.
It'd be funny, wouldn't it?
But I'm telling you, Amir Khan's clever, right? See if Khan goes off, even if Crawford knocks him spark out. See, as long as it's not in the first round. See if he can go 5 rounds and then get beat. He can come back and fight Kell Brook. Like, see if he got beat off of Kell Brook, he wouldn't be fighting Crawford next.
Yeah.
So he's clever.
Oh, it's either that or Khan simply doesn't want to get in the ring with Kell Brook. I mean, that fight's been there for a long time, and it hasn't come to fruition. But like you say, he could just be smart. As long as he doesn't get knocked out in the first round by Terence Crawford, because then shit'll all be out the window.
But then he'd probably still be the side of a Kell Brook fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. All right, man. I think we'll probably shut it down there for now. Sit here waiting for that news and it's not coming. So, thank you.
See what the split is. See if I can find out what the split is for if it goes to toss for Brazil and White. Because I looked at the statement and it never said anything about Brazil being mandatory. It didn't say the mandatory versus silver or anything. It just said Dominic Brazil being ordered. It said the ordered fight between Dominic Brazil and the WBC silver champion. So that tells me that something's quite. That doesn't sound like that's not a usual statement you release. So I wonder if Dillian White's going to be the side in these. Whether if that goes to Percy, he'll automatically get a bigger cut.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up the WBC website now and see if I can find anything before we close down. So bear with me, folks. It's a pretty shitty website though, so it's quite hard to find what you're looking for quite often. What do we got here? WBC champions and ratings. WA careers. Here we go. News. Hopefully we've got something there. Waiting.
I just seen what they released on that. I think it was on my Twitter, and then you clicked on it. It took you to their statement.
Fury confirms charity donation. That's not a new story, but he did actually give his $7 million to charity from his from the last fight. So
I seen people talking about this. See on the build up to that fight, you should go watch BT Unfiltered. He done like a thing they released on BT, and they said he was walking down the street. I think it was on his way to training or something. He's like, there was guys on the street with no trainers, and he gave them all trainers, and he said that he wanted to donate some of his money to a homeless charity in LA. There was people sleeping on tents on the side of the street in LA, and he was like, I was driving by that. He's like, nobody was even caring, so I knew he was giving money to them. He's already done a story about it months ago, and now people are saying, oh, he gave his money. He didn't say how much he gave away. He never said 7 million either. People have jumped on a story that's months old. It was on an interview. He gave something to a homeless charity.
Yeah.
That's all he said, but it doesn't say how much who it was. But I think it was one in LA. He actually gave it to one based in America.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, well, he did say prior to him saying that he was going to give his purse away that he was surprised at the amount of homeless people on the street and whatnot, and he wanted to do something to help them. So I hope he gave it to a charity that aren't going to take a big cut out of it. You know, I would have preferred, you know, giving it to somebody to build houses for them rather than give it to an organisation that's going to take a big cut out of it for administration purposes.
I think some people had made videos saying that he gave it to a charity that were building houses, but I looked online at what they were saying, and it was just that same statement he gave months ago.
Okay. I've got the order from the WBC up, and it doesn't say anything about the split. The
Does it say mandatory for Brazil? Or is it just say Brazil? Because it's a strange way to word it.
it's what's the title here? It says WBC orders interim title in heavyweight. So it doesn't say anything about a mandatory, but you know, I think it's pretty logical to say that the interim title holder, I think I've actually read it in the WBC rules, the interim title holder is created as the mandatory until the mandatory obligation can be fulfilled. Obviously at present Wilder can't fulfill his mandatories because he's been ordered to do something else. So
Perfect. That.
because Bermain Stavern was the interim title holder. They gifted him that title when Povetkin failed his drug test. So he was interim title holder and mandatory at the same time before. I think that's the only purpose of an interim title, is because a mandatory can't be fulfilled at present. So.
Clever coy. Right, John, I'm going to get off.
Yeah, mate, I've got to go too. So thanks a lot for
Thank
turning up, mate. Take it easy.
Bye bye.
All right, y'all. So that was our show for today. A little bit to talk about there. Hopefully, we're going to get some news about Joseph Parker's next opponent, which is likely to be Derek Chisora. Hopefully, we'll get a when and where. But I think a lot of that's going to depend on what's happening with Dillian White and Dominic Brazil. It was touted that it was possible that well, actually, I'll put it up here. Give me a sec here. I've got a thumbnail made up of the fights that was supposed to be on that card on the 20th of April. But it's not looking that likely that it's going to happen at this stage. So this one here, as you can see, we've got Dillian White and Dominic Brazil, Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora is being talked about. We've got Dave Allen and Lucas Brown possibly. And there was also talk of Michael Hunter versus Carlos Takam. I mean, that would be a huge heavyweight card. It would cost Eddie Hearn a lot to get all those fighters on that card. And like Double A said, it's not that likely for Brazil and White to be able to fight on the 20th of April if the fight negotiation goes to Perth, but so it's a bit of a wait and see game. We've got a lot of hurry up and waiting with this Wilder Fury news with AJ Miller. We still haven't had that official yet, and what's going to be on the undercard, and also this White Brazil situation. So hurry up and wait. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody in the chat. Wouldn't be the same without having you all on. Who we got here? Shepherd of Sons. We got Ivana Tinkle. Oh, Ivana Tinkle. Nice name. Adam Fahey we had in earlier. Oh, he's still there. See you guys arguing a little bit. Well, not arguing there. Talking a bit in the chat. Who else we got up here? That's pretty much it. Oh, Ozzy. Or Azzy. Came in earlier. Good to have y'all learn. And yeah, that's pretty much the show today, since nobody else wanted to join. But you know, as always, I'm open to anybody joining. So next time around, just check out in the description, there's an email there to get involved. All you got to do is drop me a line on Hangouts on the email, which is kiwiboxjono@gmail.com, and I'll add you to the list of people to invite, and you come and have your say. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. Catch you next time around. This is Big Boys Boxing. We out. See you.